former Long Island congressman, was back in federal court where he faces federal fraud and other identity theft charges. And that's the latest. I'm Ree Harris on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Warning, RSV, or respiratory syncytial virus, is a highly contagious virus that can be dangerous for adults 60 and older. Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers lose by 2 at Dallas last night. The loss spoiled a big night for LeBron and Anthony Davis. 37 points and 11 rebounds for AD. LeBron had 33 and 9 assists. Luka Doncic broke down the Lakers defense all night with 33 points and 17 assists. The Lakers are at San Antonio tonight. The Clippers beat Sacramento by 20. First 5-game winning streak for the Clippers since January 28, 2022. Another brilliant game for Kawhi Leonard. 31 points on 11 of 14 shooting. Leonard is averaging 35.3 points and shooting 64% in the last 3 games. Golden State is in town Thursday night to play the Clippers. There's a good chance Golden State will not have Draymond Green on Thursday. The NBA is considering another suspension for Green. Last night in Phoenix, Green was ejected for punching Phoenix center Yusuf Nurkic in the face. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's the gift-giving season, and we have a gift for you. Visit us online at KBLA.store for holiday savings of 20% off all of our KBLA swag. For the best in merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store right now. And be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all our official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580, at 20% off, but only during the holiday season. Happy holidays.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
And this is what it feels like. And this is what it feels like. The only reason I survive, cause it's special first. You get successful, then it gets stressful thirst. Gonna test you, see what your texture's worth. Diamonds and pipes, one of them pressure burst. Street, still I get checks and spurts. I'm for peace, but before I get pressed, I murk. Better days pray for, but expecting worse. At this level, boy, I'm just less concerned. Cruising in the 6, looking at the proceeds of rap music on my wrist. Drop another mixtape, my booming out this young Malcolm. I'm the leader of the movement out this love. And this is what it feels like. Reach a level, make you question, is it real life? All of good, all of real tight. And the only rule, keep your dollar bills and right. This is what it feels like. And this is what it feels like.
KBLA Talk 1580. Yes, indeed, what it feels like around here. Feeling kind of good. I am so excited to have in studio this morning Assembly member from the 55th District. He represents Baldwin Hills, Crenshaw, Culver City, Ladera Heights, Mar Vista, Delray, Pico, Robertson, Beverly Grove, Mid-Wilshire, and much, much more. He's the chair of the Committee on Natural Resources and also chair of the Assembly's first Select Committee on Poverty and Economic Inclusion. Assembly member Isaac Bryan, welcome.
Thank you, Dominique. Thank you for having me.
And he's live in the studio, so, hop in on the YouTube KBLA 1580 if you want to see us live and in person. Of course, we're going to start with the party. That's where I started this morning, talking about all the festivities that are going on in various districts because of the holidays, and yours is no exception.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been to a lot of Hanukkah celebrations and menorah lightings. Tonight will be the seventh night of Hanukkah, but this Sunday in Leimert Park, literally in the park, we're doing our annual Christmas in the Park. That's our third year in a row. We're going to have childcare supplies, toys, food, health screening, Santa, sledding, ice skating, whatever you need. we're going to have it. So come through and make sure you've got what you need to fill your holidays with joy.
I mean, the thing about that is the actual park, I didn't realize the park itself, you can't sell anything there, right? So
Correct.
That means everything is free.
That means everything is free, including music by my brother DJ Quest.
Oh,
so
nice.
we'll have good vibes and a good time.
Yeah. And this is kind of a community effort, right? I mean, the people come together, they donate toys, they wrap toys, they I think I'm supposed to be wrapping toys on Friday to help out on Sunday. It's really a group effort, right?
That's right. At the Center for Black Power right there on the corner, we're going to be wrapping toys from Wednesday to Saturday. We have that many toys. I want to give a shout out to Russell Westbrook and the Why Not Foundation for supplying us with 1,000 toys. It took Council District 10, Heather Hutt, giving us the permits to allow us to be in the park. Congresswoman Sidney Kamlager is going to come through. Supervisor Mitchell, of course, is always supported. And the great Diane Watson has never missed Christmas in the park. It's really a special day for our whole community.
It's amazing. Well, I'm excited I get to go this year. I'm looking forward to it. What is the timeline on Xmas in the park?
It is going to be from 11 to 2. 11
a.m. to 2 p.m. Big things going on in the state of California as usual. You had a productive year.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you like gloating about the most right now that you were able to accomplish policy-wise?
There are 3 pieces of legislation that really, make me feel like we did something that mattered. One, we found an old education fund that was being misused, that had no impact for students. And so we reconverted it to become a scholarship for students who are transferring to HBCUs from our community colleges. So now if you are in community college and you're going to transfer to an HBCU, you can apply for this $5,000 scholarship just because. And it didn't cost us any new taxes or any new money. We just looked at the budget. We saw waste. We reshaped it. And we made it positive for Black folks. We also...
We've got to drill down on that a little before you move on to your other 2, because I saw that and at first I didn't know it was coming from you, and I'm like, this is so dope, because we don't have an HBCU here.
That's right.
And a lot of California students do end up going, but you have a little disadvantage because you're going all the way across the country, which means, it's expensive.
That's right.
So how does a person connect to that, to that resource?
All you have to do is apply through your FAFSA. And through your university, through your financial aid department. The money is there. It's ready. The other interesting thing about it is it was a mild fight in the legislature. I turned it into becoming a bipartisan thing. But whenever you try to do something for Black folks, you get a little bit of pushback. And one of the things was, well, why are we sending California kids out of state?
Right.
And I said, for Black students, the HBCUs are much more than just an institution of higher learning. It's a real cultural transformation that happens. And when you bring that back home, it's one of the most powerful things that you could have. And somebody said, well, give me one example of that. And I said, well, how about the vice president?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and the examples go on and on. There's a whole Howard Wood, a Hollywood organization of Howard graduates. I mean, there's a whole, I didn't get to go to an HBCU, but all my brothers did, and my sisters. So I get it. But it isn't, everybody can't go to CDU. That's the only thing we have that's close to an HBCU.
That's right. And, we like to joke that Cal State Dominguez Hills is on the cusp. But this is for real money for students who need it to go and make a difference in the world.
I mean, is it a little bit of a pushback to like to the affirmative action move? Like, okay, you're not going to get any love on affirmative action. We're going to bolster these HBCUs.
That was my thinking, because the HBCUs accept everybody.
They do.
And so
can't say it's affirmative action.
We sent it. I believe this money will disproportionately impact Black folks, but that's really between applicants and the HBCU.
Right, exactly. Love that. Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was just really excited about that. And sometimes I think it's good to start with great news, because we need encouragement around here sometimes.
We do, and it's important to know what your folks are doing in the state legislature, right? Often our work is unseen and unheard, so we don't get the pushback that the city council does, but we also don't, we don't have people who know the impact that we're making or trying to make. Another really big thing that we did this year, it was a 2-year effort, and we solved a problem, Dominique. We didn't just fix it and move the can down the road. We solved it, and here's what it was. If you lost custody of your children to the child welfare system, you used to get hit with a fee. It was like child support to the county for having your children now. It was terrible.
Yeah, I remember because we talked about this when you were thinking about trying to fix it.
That's right. And we took the first step. where we stopped that practice of charging parents for their children's time in foster care. And we got that signed into law. And then this last year, we said, you know what? Let's go clear all the outstanding debt too, because we're spending more money trying to collect this money from struggling families than we're getting back. For every dollar we spend in enforcement, we're only getting 27 cents back. So let's just wipe the whole slate clean. Let's stop hitting folks' credit. Let's stop charging them for their children's struggles. Let's stop that. And we cleared $400 million in debt from struggling families this year.
Wow, that's a lot of debt. I mean, these are the things that become obstacles to people moving on with their lives, right? Because if you have this bill coming to you from the county, now you can't rent another apartment because your credit is jacked, or now you can't get an opportunity, an educational opportunity. And I where does that focus for you come from? I mean, I'm guessing it comes from your own experiences as a young person, but those kinds of problems are problems that most of us wouldn't even be aware of.
Yeah, so I wasn't raised by my biological mother or father because of poverty, because of struggle, because of violence in the community I was born into. And in my adopted family, they were foster parents for 26 years. They adopted 9 of us. I had, more foster siblings than I can count. I remember all of them. I think over 200 came through the house, all with a different story, a different need, a different impact, a different relation to their origin stories and their biological families. And so you see some of these gaps in the system. And when you see them, you can't unsee them. And for me, that's turned into a call to action. Now that I'm in a position where I can do something about it, I'm going to do everything I can.
I mean, I bring that up because I think that is why we need diverse people. Age-wise, you're a younger guy in the assembly, background-wise, why I always want to see more mamas, because we can look and say, that doesn't make any sense, and I already dealt with that, and I know why it's terrible. Right. And so, those are real fixes, real solutions. Why are we criminalizing people who are trying to get their lives together through debt? That doesn't make any sense.
Right. All it does is it makes the conditions of poverty even worse.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on that. We'll get to your third policy item, gloat. I asked you to gloat, and we'll gloat with you when we come forward. If you want to talk with Assembly Member Isaac Bryan, he's always very accessible. 800-920-1580. Appreciate that you always come and hang out with us live in Leimert Park. We are KBLA Talk 1580.
Happy Kwanzaa from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. Environmental justice, pollution, and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, Black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any Black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
She's so smooth, so... I'm interrupting my own shower to remind you to treat your skin like the queen she is with Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash, packed with Olay's highest level of vitamin B3 complex. It's so moisturizing that it will give you visibly smoother, head-turning skin in just 14 days. People wondering, how'd she get so smooth? Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash. Also, try Olay Hyaluronic Body Lotion.
Meet Cheryl.
Hey.
She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking.
Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Hey, son. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Isaac Bryan is my guest. He's the assembly person for the 55th District. And don't forget, Sunday, Xmas in the Park, coming up from 11 to 2 inside the actual park of Leimert Park.
That's right.
In South LA. So you said you had top 3 things you were feeling good about from 2023, and we are on number 3.
So the third one is kind of a wonky one, but it's really, really important. And it was changing the referendum ballot for the first time in 115 years. When we pass a law in the state legislature, there's an opportunity for the general public to weigh in and overturn it or to affirm it. But the problem is the way that you are asked on your ballot, whether you support the law or not, is a double negative. The no means yes. The yes means no.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And so special interests have used that confusion to undo progress for communities of color in the state legislature. And so I said, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of you confusing our folks. We're going to rework the ballot, and we're going to ask the question really plainly. Keep the law or overturn the law. That way the everyday person understands what their vote means, and you can't spend tens of millions of dollars to convince people to vote against their own self-interest because they weren't sure what the yes or no means. Again, it's really wonky, but it's going to have a lasting impact on our ability to keep the change we make.
I mean, you say it's really wonky, but we actually were talking about this on the show because one of the things people complain about all the time is that the propositions are confusing, and they are intentionally confusing to make you vote what you didn't think you were voting. I remember going all the way to Prop 209 where we eliminated, affirmative action in the state of California. I can't remember exactly what the name of it was, but it was a something civil rights, blah, blah, blah. So you felt like you were voting for civil rights, but you were really voting against civil rights. And so this keep the bill, overturn the bill, that applies to anything that we passed that's trying to be overturned, which happens a lot.
Yeah, I'll give you an example that's happening right now that'll be on your ballot. And this is what inspired me to do it. We have the largest urban oil field in the country right here in Los Angeles, the Baldwin Hills Inglewood oil field. You see it driving down La Cienega. It almost doesn't look real. But the people who live around it, they die sooner. They get higher rates of heart conditions. They have higher asthma rates. So we passed a bill that said no more new oil drilling within 3,200 feet of our homes, of our schools, of our hospitals, etc. And Big Oil said, okay, bet. We're going to put up $20 million immediately to try to overturn this law and send it back to the voters, confuse them to vote against their own self-interest. And when I saw that they were going to abuse this process, I decided let's go ahead and clean up the process. And so that's what led to this transition. But that Big Oil example is just one of many, many games that's been played by a special interest that's been trying to do harm through the referendum process.
And that's a really good example because now when I see it, I'll know that I'm either overturning the bill.
Correct.
That was meant to protect me from oil fields.
Or keeping the bill.
Or keeping the bill the way we, the voters, elected you to enact it.
And the governor signed it already.
Right.
And the worst part about the referendum process is it puts the law on pause for 2 years.
Yeah.
While it goes back to the voters. So all of the good it could be doing during that time is lost.
So does that mean that even if the vote occurs prior to that 2 years, it's still suspended for the full 2 years?
If it goes on the referendum ballot, it doesn't go on the ballot for 2 years. So there's no vote of the people until the next general election.
So it can be voted on prior to.
Correct.
I mean, I remember, the fast food workers is another example of this, where we vote for protections for fast food workers and raises and whatnot, and then here comes the franchises or the industry itself coming in and saying, no, we want to challenge this. And then people don't even know what they're voting on. Does that bill do anything to make other titles less confusing that are not specifically overturning referendums?
It doesn't, but it did do another thing to referendums, specifically for the intentions of impacting the fast food conversation. previously there was no mechanism for the proponents to pull back their referendum. So if the governor had signed a law and you wanted to overturn it, you got the signatures, but then you changed your mind during that 2-year process.
Right. Somebody made a deal.
Yeah. There's a legislative fix that's gone into place.
Okay, let's go with that.
You couldn't pull it back. And so we put in language that allows you to pull it back. You can pull back ballot measures, but you can't pull back referendums. So we copied the same language from the ballot measures for referendums, and we actually got the fast food worker one to get pulled.
Yeah.
So the voters won't have to vote on that again. We've already decided on these protections. We've already decided we're going to raise the wages to $20 an hour by April this year. And that's the law, period. There's no referendum anymore.
And there was what you call a legislative fix, right, in terms of the fact that there was a different board that was put into place that was an old board, speaking of wonky, to help mitigate those conflicts between the fast food workers and their employers so that they felt better about the whole deal, right?
Yeah, I mean, basically, you offer something reasonable,
right?
A food council and the potential for a pay raise. They say, no, that's too far. So you go even further fighting for people on the margins. You take it to the extreme. And once they realize that you mean business, that you really are going to fight for a thriving wage for folks, that you really are going to make sure that they're protected and have safe working conditions, then they're willing to settle anywhere from the extreme to the original starting point. And I think that's part of the legislative dance, but you can't have those conversations if there's not a mechanism for them to go, hey, our bad. We care about our workers. We didn't mean that.
Right. But also the thing about being able to pull back a referendum, that's actually important too, because it means that if there is a legislative fix or you can come up with a compromise, I mean, it gives the opportunity to avoid disaster by having something on the ballot that shouldn't be there.
And most importantly, it saves taxpayers money. Anything we put on the ballot, anything you need an election for, costs the state millions of dollars. And that's a fight that we don't have to have now.
Yeah, I think that's true. We're hearing so much about, going from relatively flush times during COVID, which sounds ironic, but budgetary wise, to being in deficit here now. And we know that this tends to impact Black communities first, Latina communities first. What are you anticipating as far as the contraction that we're going to be facing in the year ahead?
Yeah, I think you called it an irony, and I think if we take a step back, we actually see that it makes a lot of sense. We got federal resources during the pandemic that we had never had before, right?
Yeah,
and that helped boosted us up to a $100 billion surplus. But the good news is we took a third of that surplus and we put it away. Rainy day fund, savings account. So we're $68 billion in the hole, but we've got over $30 billion sitting on the sidelines. We've got $90 billion cash on hand. We've got an opportunity to be flexible. We also have a new budget chair, Assemblymember Jesse Gabriel from Los Angeles, first LA budget chair in many, many years. And so he and I are in close conversation. Speaker and I are in conversation. People want to protect working families. People want to protect folks on the margins. People want to make sure that the everyday folks who are relying on government to work for them, to improve the conditions of life, to find that stability that's often so hard to find, that we don't let that fall through during a tough economic time. And so it's going to take a lot of creativity. It's going to take some loud voices, some strong advocates, but you have one right here in the 55th Assembly District.
Yeah, and I think it's helpful, for hopefully KBLA can play a role in that so we can pick our battles, because it seems to me that these are the times when folks use the budget as an excuse to cut things that they already wanted to cut that benefit our community, particularly when it comes to programs for Black and Latina people. And having an advocate, having what we would consider a progressive lawmaker like yourself, then we have to know, how do we support you in fighting for us?
Well, you allow me to come back on the show and talk to folks as often as possible.
Open door policy.
People need to know what's going on. It happens so fast. It happens in Sacramento. But I try to move with transparency and with openness and with community. We're in these fights together, and we've got to make sure we protect our child care money. We've got to make sure we protect our education dollars. We've got to make sure we protect our CalWorks, our CalFresh. We've got to make sure we protect the things that people are desperately relying on to get through the month. And so I'm focused on those efforts. I think there's a lot of overspending in systems of harm, right? We never seem to cut from our prison budget, which is $18 billion a year. We never seem to cut from certain infrastructures that we know exacerbate the root conditions of struggle. We always cut from the things that alleviate it. And so I'm focused on that balance. I'm thinking about that balance, and I'm going to be fighting for that balance in Sacramento.
It's funny. Now we have more and more people like yourself who started out really as activists, right? And also you're a scholar, but activists inside the system. And sometimes that's got to feel hard.
It is often hard. I mean, if you can imagine being a 31-year-old black man in politics, there are folks who often don't believe in the things that you're fighting for. They don't want to see you successful in fighting for the people that you're fighting for. They don't want to see you successful personally. They misread you. They put you into the same kind of stereotypical and limiting boxes that we often put other folks in. And I have a responsibility to break out of all of that. But it's a responsibility that I take very seriously, and I work every single day to be the best legislator I can be, and that's what the people sent me to do, and that's what I'm going to keep doing.
I applaud you. I'm just laughing because I think about, if I was ever sitting in that chair, just that, you would be I know I would be wanting to pop off at the mouth and wanting to, try to be impatient. Let's get this done. Let's get it across the finish line. And even the fact that HBCU, scholarship was able to be successful, to me, it's amazing. Because people will sit here and go, well, why are, you're the assembly member for all people. You're not just the assembly member for black people. You in particular have a very diverse district.
And it's a solidarity and coalition district. Right. Our
Well
family across Los Angeles knows that if you improve the conditions of life for the folks who are the furthest at the margins, you improve the conditions of life for everybody. That's our message. That's our work. That's what we're focused on. We're focused on struggle and alleviating that struggle. And when we turn that struggle into opportunity, we all thrive.
I feel like it is actually in itself a hopeful situation, because when you look at the polarization in the country, over world events, but also over events in Washington, over the upcoming election, and the fact that a district like yours, which encompasses everybody, is voting in a young, very progressive black man, I just feel like we have to take note of that and remember that the concept of coalition, the concept of solidarity is still actually functioning in the state of California.
No, absolutely. And to me, those are the principles that Los Angeles was founded on. And keep in mind, before this was my district, at one point it was Mayor Karen Bass's district, right? And it's that same solidarity coalition that helped propel her to be mayor. That same kind of thinking that propelled Tom Bradley to be mayor. And it really just takes going to the places that you're maybe less comfortable with and building the relationships so that you can become, family in all of the communities you represent. And so we do that work. We do it every single day. I'm grateful for the diversity in our district, and I feel like the district's grateful for me, and that means a lot.
Yeah, I think the district is grateful for you. And the reason I'm hammering on this is because I also believe that some African Americans who like to call the show think that in order to be in coalition and be elected or move in coalition as a political organization, it means compromising your progressive ideals or compromising your blackness. And from where I sit, I don't see that happening.
I still got my chain out when I go to the West Side. I wear my pro club on Pico Robertson as well. I think when you move with authenticity and you connect with kind of the core things that make us people, you find that touch of humanity that connects us all. People can feel that, and once they feel that, that's what we all hold on to. And so I try to deliver that for the district. I try to take that authenticity to Sacramento, and I try to move with policy that represents those values.
Talking with Assembly Member Isaac Bryan. If you're too scared to say it, put it in the chat and I'll say it. KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Ray Harris, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. A new survey finds 1 in 5 black voters would rather cast their ballots for someone else other than President Biden or former President Trump next year. According to Pew, 92% of black voters cast their ballots for Biden. Attorneys representing the family of a black man killed in an officer-involved shooting in Decatur, Alabama, are filing a federal lawsuit. This comes after 3 officers who were involved in the death of Stephen Perkins were fired by the city. Another was suspended. Guess who's celebrating a birthday today? Nene Leakes and Jamie Foxx. And happy birthday to you if you're celebrating your birthday today. And that's the latest. I'm Ree Harris on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Warning, RSV, or respiratory syncytial virus, is a highly contagious virus that can be dangerous for adults 60 and older. Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers lose by 2 at Dallas last night. The loss spoiled a big night for LeBron and Anthony Davis. 37 points and 11 rebounds for AD. LeBron had 33 and 9 assists. Luka Doncic broke down the Lakers defense all night with 33 points and 17 assists. The Lakers are at San Antonio tonight. The Clippers beat Sacramento by 20. First 5-game winning streak for the Clippers since January 28, 2022. Another brilliant game for Kawhi Leonard. 31 points on 11 of 14 shooting. Leonard is averaging 35.3 points and shooting 64% in the last 3 games. Golden State is in town Thursday night to play the Clippers. There's a good chance Golden State will not have Draymond Green on Thursday. The NBA is considering another suspension for Green. Last night in Phoenix, Green was ejected for punching Phoenix center Yusuf Nurkic in the face. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's the gift-giving season, and we have a gift for you. Visit us online at KBLA.store for holiday savings of 20% off all of our KBLA swag. For the best in merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store right now. And be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all our official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580, at 20% off, but only during the holiday season. Happy holidays.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, Maisha Cairo here, KBLA, live at Chase Bank on Crenshaw and Vernon for the In This Together tour with female business owners, a day of empowerment, community panels, and best of all, tips on building business from marketing to capital. I was able to speak with one of the panelists, the owner of Kids Love. Take a listen.
So Kids Love, KIDSLUV, is a first-to-market zero-sugar, vitamin-enhanced functional beverage for kids.
So the zero sugar is really important because if not, the sugar gets on the teeth, it can cause cavities. So as a mom, I love this vitamins and hydration in one. Tell us what's happening here with Chase Bank today.
So I would say, I think what Chase is trying to do is create a community actually for entrepreneurs, a place where people can go. They have the space to do it. It's a beautiful space. And to be able to have these conversations. There are so many benefits to being a women-owned and certified business, from a standpoint of getting into stores, not paying the slotting fees of what it takes to be in stores. So I think Chase is trying to bring awareness to a lot of the things that people just don't know about, that not only the bank can help, but outside of the bank, their relationships can help create.
That's beautiful. And I know, this is how we build equity in communities of color, is kind of spreading that information and that knowledge. So thank you for being here today and doing your part and letting these women know that it is possible.
For KBLA 1580, I'm Maisha Cairo in the community with Chase.
Did you know that every year public school teachers spend nearly $500 of their own money for student supplies? At Donors Choose, we want students and teachers to have the tools they need for a great education. And now, more than ever, they need your help. Go to DonorsChoose.org and choose from teachers' requests that support reading, math, science, music, and more. Learn more at DonorsChoose.org.
Donors Choose. Support a classroom.
Build a future.
No young person should ever have to worry about having a safe place to sleep at night, or whether anyone cares about them.
But the reality is, 1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year.
For over 50 years, Covenant House has been helping youth in crisis and giving them the support and tools they need to succeed in life. To learn more, go to covenanthouse.org today. Thank you for caring.
Hello?
Man, where are you? I thought you were coming.
I can't. I'm in bed with the flu.
The flu? Whoa. Grandma's about to crowd surf. Man, I'll call you back.
Don't get stuck at home with the flu. A flu shot is safe, effective, and you can get it at the same time as your COVID-19 vaccine. A flu shot is the best way to prevent the flu and its potentially serious complications. Don't get flu FOMO. Learn more at getmyflushot.org.
Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
Only 1 in 5 people with autism are employed, despite many having the skill set and desire to work.
Maybe it's because employers don't know what kind of jobs they can do. Like, what about a programmer?
That's a job for someone with autism.
How about a healthcare worker?
Yep, that is too. People with autism can do a lot of different jobs, but often get overlooked due to outdated stigmas. Introducing WIN by Autism Speaks. We help businesses lead the way in inclusive hiring.
What about a ranch hand?
To learn more, go to autismspeaks.org/win.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, you are. And you're right. I should have congratulated you if I did not do so. I wasn't saying you're right to the Assemblyman. I was saying it to somebody else who's sitting in the room. If you're on YouTube, you may be wondering. That is your staffer. But congratulations, Mr. Jones. Yeah. Congratulations. You're getting hitched.
Yeah.
That's great news.
I'm going to marry my best friend in 2024.
Happy news. Love that.
Yeah. It's not an easy thing being with somebody in politics. But she's a thriving, incredible attorney in her own right. We met at UCLA back in the day, and we've just been rocking together through thick and thin for several years.
Yeah, and it's nice to have someone that really knows you and has your back. I imagine that as an African American, as a Black person in the political space, it comes with its own set of challenges.
It does, and thankfully, dating isn't one of them. Nobody wants to see their elected officials on Hinge. Thankfully, she and I, we've been together since before this journey, and we're doing this journey together. So I'm real fortunate, real grateful.
She knows she's not in it for the assembly title.
No, she's not in it for the money either, because there's no retirement in this work. We retire with good deeds.
Well. Yeah, we're going to work on that. So you are, young man. You have been in the assembly for 2 years.
That's right.
And you're not termed out for a while.
Not for a long time. I got 8 to 10 left, depending on what the people choose. I mean, every 2 years I'm back on your ballot.
Right.
And every 2 years I'm going to fight for that vote. I think this is what they call a safe seat. Most of the time, if you win your first election, you can go all 12, and the community will just keep putting you back. But I don't think that's the way I want to do it. I want to fight for that vote every single time. So we're going to have a campaign video coming out like it's a serious election, whether we have an opponent or not, because the people should be excited when they go to the ballot, not just going through the motions.
I'm smiling because I know you won with like 86% of the vote or something crazy like that last time. So, I mean, it's nice that you're humble and you don't take it for granted, but.
Well, and you can easily find yourself on the wrong side of that. If you start feeling yourself instead of feeling the community, those numbers can and should flip. And so I'm going to try to stay rooted, stay grounded, and stay focused.
I mean, it makes sense. Congresswoman Maxine Waters was on the show a couple weeks ago, and she announced that she's going to run for re-election. And she fights hard every time, and she wins with huge numbers. I'm like, but you're an icon. She takes no vote for granted, so I guess it does make sense.
The community has way too many needs for folks to get comfortable in these seats.
Yeah.
The seat doesn't belong to me. It belongs to the people.
We're so used to turnover because not just term limits, but ambition, right? Someone called earlier saying that Mayor Bass should run for governor, and she's repeatedly said she doesn't want to do that. She came home to be home. And I'm sure you get that all the time. Are you going to run for governor? Or are you going to run for, something else?
Yeah, it's come up a few times. When Karen Bass announced that she was going to run for the mayoral race, I was asked if I was going to go after that Congress seat because it overlaps. We said no. Sidney Kamlager went to Congress, I was asked, are you going to go fill her Senate seat because it overlaps? And I said, no, I came to do this job. The 10th Council District is a hotly contested seat that is in my neighborhood.
And that's putting it mildly.
And folks have asked many times, are you going to jump into that race? In fact, it was widely anticipated that I was for some reason. I signed up to be your state assembly member. I'm going to be your state assembly member until I feel like the job in this position is done. And if the people decide I need to go somewhere else, that's what I'll do. And if Lamara decides I need to go home and be with my 2 Great Danes and her, then that's what I'll do. But I'm going to serve to my best capacity while I'm here so that we can be proud of the work we've done.
And the Great Danes, do they get a vote?
The Great Danes, they vote through their mother.
So no campaigns outside of the assembly in the future, as far as we know right now.
That's correct. I mean, that's for the people to decide from the body of work that we put together, and we're still building that body of work.
And let's talk about endorsements. The March election is right around the corner, and I keep saying that because I know it's going to come up, and we're going to be like, wait, what? There's a ballot? Oh, no, I haven't thought about anything. But you've already started endorsing, no?
I have.
In the assembly?
I have. There are a couple of candidates that I get really excited about, but the most important one, or the one that I spend the most time trying to help because she's such a powerful force, is Sade El-Wahi. She's running for Reggie Jones Sawyer's current assembly seat. It's just east of me, so if you live east of Western, all the way down to Skid Row, downtown, you are in South Central. That is the South Central seat. Sade is an organizer. She's got a master's in education from Harvard. She's a foster mother. She worked at Community Coalition on 81st in Vermont for a decade. She organized the youth vote for Mayor Bass. She cares about the people. She puts the people first. She's the kind of person that I would love to serve alongside with in the legislature. So if we can do the work that we need to do to put another young black leader in, that's what this moment is calling for us.
She was on the show last week, and I got a chance to talk to her. If you missed it, find it where you find your podcast. But for some progressives, it's a little, because
Baba Akili.
Because Akili's running, Black Lives Matter.
What's funny about that is it's less contentious between the two of them, from what I hear.
Yeah.
In fact, Baba Akili was one of her organizing teachers back in the day.
Right, and I think they had lunch the other day in some kumbaya moment. Nevertheless, I'm sure he asked for your endorsement.
He did, but we also, Baba Akili is a big supporter on setting the next generation up to be successful. And we could use his leadership now. We could use his leadership any moment at any time. But I think that doesn't mean that he wants to also stop the growth of new leaders as well. That's why he's our Baba. That's why he takes care of us. And so we have a lot of love for him. And, whatever he does for us is something that we need. And I'm excited that they are in communication.
Well, yeah, me too. And, and also I did talk to Akili about his, a.k.a. Baba Akili, a.k.a. Greg Akili, about his campaign. So if you want to check that out, it is also wherever you get your podcast. And in the ever so crowded 10th Council District, have you endorsed?
I have not.
You got one of your assembly colleagues running.
I do have one of my assembly colleagues
that's going to be,
and that throws the curveball. I mean, Reggie Jones Sawyer is running.
Heather Hutt is running.
Heather and I have a history.
Who is the incumbent?
That is actually quite beautiful. We built an incredible relationship through running against each other and then serving alongside each other. Pastor Eddie Anderson, I believe, is qualified, and we've been organizing for many, many, many years. And so there's a lot of work to do. It is a historically black seat. It has the soul of Los Angeles and Leimert Park. And so I'm going to be watching the race
closely.
And
it's another very diverse district, though. It's kind of like the city council version of your assembly district.
Right, with K-Town and Leimert, it's a coalition district for sure. I think I'm going to watch until the primary and then get active after that. I think the community can decide better than I can, and I'm going to wait for their first vote.
Yeah, I just hope that we don't end up diluting the black vote so much that nobody black gets through in the primary.
I think that's a terrifying reality that I don't want to think about.
Okay. I'll change the subject. We're talking with Assemblyman. I don't think so. I think Heather Hutt definitely gets through. And, no one cares, but I endorse Heather Hutt for her CD10. Nobody cares what I think, but and I love Pastor Eddie Anderson. He's in here all the time with me. I adore him, but he's a young guy. No, he can run in 2020, whatever. 2020 something, 2030 something. All right, we're talking with Assembly member Isaac Bryan. He's invited you to a party on Sunday, and I hope you will show up. It is in the park, Xmas in the Park, 11 to 2 in the actual park inside Leimert Park. And you're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Today, young adults face big questions about their future. How will you make your mark? Do you want to be part of something bigger than yourself? Are you ready to learn new skills and make new friendships? Perhaps you have a dream that you're ready to make real. So, how will you make a mark with your future? As you embark on a journey toward finding these answers, the military can serve as a resource for providing help, information, and opportunities. A public service message from the Department of Defense. To learn more, visit todaysmilitary.com.
Teachers are dynamic leaders shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. They're skilled experts, discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, leading by example. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready? Explore teaching at teach.org, supported by the U.S. Department of Education and 1 million teachers of color.
There are 1,000 ways to say it.
Nope. Knock it off. Shut it down. Dream on. No dice. Give it a rest. Not a chance.
Or just
all text. You focus on the road.
As a passenger, you have the power to prevent an accident. There are 1,000 ways to stop a distracted driver. Choose one.
A message from CTIA.
Now. We tend not to think about now. We dream about tomorrow, relive yesterday. But right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. Victory over cancer is there for the taking by you, because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory. Learn more at v.org.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
55th Assembly District is in the building. Isaac Bryan, our Assemblyman, is here. And, you know, I guess the musical chairs and the ever-shifting landscape of politics is, you know, always kind of above our head as regular citizens, but it also impacts us. You know, that's why I was asking you about endorsements. I don't know if you've endorsed for Nate not Nate. Geez, Chris Holden's seat.
I have absolutely Chris Holden for supervisor. I have endorsed Chris Holden for supervisor.
Okay. That's speaking of the musical chairs. He's running for supervisor. Right.
That's right.
Yeah, and now his seat is up in the assembly.
Out in Pasadena?
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't jumped into that one yet.
Yeah,
you know, I've been balancing all the transition that's been happening in the assembly as well.
Right.
And we've got some time. We've got the primary coming up, and then we've got the November general election. I tend to wait closer to the primary. You know, let the community start to consolidate around somebody. I think particularly if you're an elected official, you never want to put too much weight in a neighborhood that's not yours, because
that makes sense.
You might not know what's happening on the streets because you're operating in Sacramento. Makes
sense. How do you stay in touch with, you know, your district? I mean, you do have to spend a lot of time there. You know, I've talked to various electeds about that. How do you keep your pulse here?
I think one is having a fantastic team, like my man Herman Jones and others who are walking the streets when I'm in Sacramento. But when I'm home, just going the places you've always gone, right?
Yeah.
You might find me at Huron Coffee just posted up. You know, South LA Cafe. You might find me on the west side getting Primo's Donuts. You might find me just out and about in community. And I think showing up the way you always showed up before you were in office, and then, you know, doing the traditional political infrastructure, doing your church runs, you know, going by the temples on Wilshire and just making sure folks have the opportunity to see you and hear you. I'm on social media. I'm active. It's really me. We can talk anytime about anything. We do town halls.
It's really you?
It's really
I always
me.
thought it was Herman.
Well, there's 2 accounts. One's me, and you'll have to figure out which one it is.
The only reason I say that is because you're so quick. You know, anything gets tweeted about you either like it or retweet it, or I mean, you're on it.
I'm just like that for you and the KBLA fam.
Oh, I got you. We got love. Okay, I appreciate that. We appreciate the love. You're getting Tim Cornegay is in the YouTube chat, and he says, "Keep showing up strong for the community." Assembly member Bryan.
Got a lot of love for you, Tim. Grateful for you, brother.
So, talk to me about the shenanigans in Sacramento. You were majority leader. Now you're not. I feel like we've had traditionally this sort of Black Latino alliance there in Sacramento. You know, we went from Speaker Willie Brown to Speaker Antonio Villaraigosa to Speaker Herb Wesson, almost like we were taking turns.
Right.
Where are we now?
Right. So you had Antonio, Herb, you had Fabian,
right.
Karen.
Right.
There's definitely been that kind of synergy. We had a very elongated speaker fight, right? For nearly 2 years, I fought for and side by side with Robert Rivas. I flanked him. I covered his back here in Los Angeles. I covered his back in progressive spaces when they were skeptical. I, uplifted his name and put the work in where it needed to be put in. And during the transition, only a couple of spots got moved right away. And in that interim, he put me in as majority leader to hold down the House floor. And we had one of the smoothest end of sessions that we've had in many, many, many years. But I think as we're setting up the full chessboard, as he's setting up his full chessboard, there's a recognition that California leads the world in climate change and sustainability, that we aren't just a partner in innovation for the country, but really coming on the heels of COP28, we are that leader for the world. And oftentimes it's Black and brown communities that are most impacted by environmental hazards, and it's Black and brown communities that need to benefit from the economic investments that we're making in new spaces of energy. We need those livable wage jobs. We need those good union paying jobs. And so it's important to have people who are closest to the problems, closest to the solutions. And chairing the Natural Resource Committee, I'll still be closest to those solutions. But the Speaker and I, we still program very, very closely. Flying up to Sacramento to see him next Tuesday, just to touch base one more time before we dip out for the holidays. And there's a lot of good work to do.
Okay. We want to leave that there. And, I'm looking forward to Speaker Bryan, one of these.
You're going to get me in trouble. Don't start that.
Sessions. Oh, well, I didn't say right now. You're a young guy. You got time.
There's a decent chance that I just go home and raise these 2 dogs.
Well, you're getting married. You never know. You could be raising more than that. Assemblymember Bryan is our guest. And when we come forward, I really want you to give us an outlook of what you would love to see your constituents. We count on you to be there for us. And I know that many an elected has told me over the years they could get more if we would show up. What issue do we need to be showing up for right now in pushing our state assembly, our state senate, and our governor? And if you care to, when we continue, I'd love to get you a couple words on the big debate between Governor Newsom and Governor DeSantis. And that's next on KBLA Talk 1580.
From our heart to your heart. Happy holidays to you and the ones you love from KBLA Talk 1580.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, can potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Assemblymember Isaac Bryan is here. You know, first I got to ask you about the big debate. Your governor, the leader of our state, Gavin Newsom, going up against the aspiring Trump, Mr. Ron DeSantis of Florida. What'd you think?
I think anybody who holds up a poop map in a debate should automatically be disqualified to run for president of the United States. I think the governor went into the lion's den. I mean, he went on to Fox News without the questions in advance. DeSantis got him in advance. There were a lot of rules that were broken in the debate, and Newsom just kept on swinging.
Yeah.
And so I think the Fox News audience is probably about where they were in the beginning, but it showed the rest of us that this man will do and go anywhere to swing for the party.
I mean, yeah, and he was also debating the moderator.
Right.
But some of us do better when we're under attack. I know I'm like that.
I'm very much like that. But they were selectively cherry picking the statistics. PolitiFact just had a field day confirming everything that Governor Newsom said was accurate and kind of disputing some of the way that some of the frames were. It was either Florida versus California when it was useful. It was Florida versus all blue states when it was useful. It was California versus all red states when it was useful. And when I say useful, I mean useful to Sean Hannity's purpose.
Right.
And that's a little dishonest.
Yeah, it's a lot. But for me, I thought it was a good look, although I must say it made me wonder if he was going to run. Not in 2028, but like right now.
I mean, I've talked to the governor many times, and what he's focused on is promoting our democratic values and supporting President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris on their work right now. But he is a tremendous leader. We're lucky to have him in California. I'm grateful for his mentorship and the ability to serve alongside him. I think it's a special moment what we're watching in him.
In your opinion, what should we, the voters of your district or everyone who is within the sound of your voice, what should we be organizing around right now?
Reparations.
Yeah.
The Reparations Task Force released a report this past year. Obviously, we talked earlier about the budget deficit. I'm just going to keep it playing with y'all folks. We're not getting checks this year. It's just not. It's fiscally not possible. But the report had hundreds of recommendations that would get us closer to a world where repair and restoration is taking place for Black folks, for descendants of slaves here in California. And so every member of the Black Caucus should carry at least one bill that came from that report in my mind. And we've talked about that as a caucus. And so expect a reparations package to come forth. I know that I'm going to be carrying a couple of them. And I'll let you know what those are as we get closer to January and February. But we've got to keep this progress going. We've got to remind folks that we are still so far from parity. We're so far from equity. We're so far from restoration. That's got to stay the focus in the community until we have it.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. We're now doing Freedman Fridays every Friday in 7 o'clock hour here. Attorney Camilla Moore will be on with us Friday. And it's exactly that, keeping the momentum going. So I thank you for doing that. And tell us where we can keep up with you.
You can follow me online at IB2_real. Or you can just catch me in these streets. You can definitely catch me in Leimert Park this Sunday from 11 to 2, giving out toys, food, clothing, anything that you need.
Excellent. Assemblymember Isaac Bryan, so glad you could come in.
Always good to be with you.
I appreciate you. I absolutely do. Look, Tavis Smiley's up next. He's got an amazing lineup for you, like he always does. Please check in with us on socials while you're at IB2Real. Go to KBLA 1580. Follow, like, subscribe. Find me. I'm at DiPrima Radio, DiPrima, and then radio. And just follow us. Get the app. All of that makes a huge difference. And I will see you at Xmas in the Park on Sunday. History is now, and we are making it together. And we do that each and every day here on KBLA Talk 1580. Until tomorrow, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Ray Harris, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. A new survey finds 1 in 5 black voters would rather cast their ballots for someone else other than President Biden or former President Trump next year.